Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone slept well. And I didn't, but that's okay. I still feel like casting games. Not quite sure what that character means. It might be Korean, it might not. We don't know. Now, in the theme of the late game, you heard me say last video that it's rare for me to actually go late game against Protoss, just because Protoss isn't really used to the kind of pressure that I put on. The just how early it is and how frequent it is, it usually tears Protoss apart before the late game. And because of that. Also because, well, I don't like getting ghosts, so it's easy for me to misclick or misstep and just lose my entire army to storms. Because of those two reasons, we don't really go into mid-game that much. And as I said previously, because of this, all of my TVP games that go into the late game are either against friends, so maybe not the best examples, or they're outdated. And this is one of the best games against Protoss that I've ever played. And it is outdated, but that's okay because the unit composition doesn't change. We're still going to go for the same stuff. And our opponent still goes for the same stuff too. Now, in this time, the time that so we're going to be attacking here. He does force field us out. And not too long ago, well, I guess a little long ago, but for a small amount of time, I was actually experimenting with a 3-rack split instead of 2 racks. I found some success with it, but not that much. It it didn't really suit my style because it delayed the economy a little bit too much. The idea was to push with 10 Marines instead of 9, therefore you'd be able to 3-shot Stalkers and Zealots instead of 4-shot. But I abandoned it just because it's not econ enough for me. And once again, you can see how long my third is. Yeah, I really like having a faster third than this. Alright, so we're going to push out again, put on even more pressure. Our opponent defended the first push pretty well. I mean, he didn't lose any workers, which is really good defense on his part. And this time, he will engage me, and he engages me without losing any workers again. We do get a couple sentries, which is rather nice for us, and a couple of zealots, but all in all, really good defense on our opponent's part. Really good defense. And while I was also experimenting with the 3-rack style, there was a short period of time where I tried to go for double racks for mid-game tanks. And one thing I've learned from this is that you can't really afford going for tanks until the late game. Going mid-game tanks doesn't really work well. And the reason why is because ideally you'd want to have +1 for your tanks. Well, while you're getting +1/+1 for bio. And because you're devoting so much gas to both the upgrades for it and then the factories and the tanks, you can't really afford the starport until way later, and this is a problem when you're encountering Colossi. Because tanks are good against Colossi, but still, even there, it's preferable to get Vikings. And good engagement by our opponent. Remember, the sentries are what makes this Colossi so powerful. Without the sentries, the Colossi can't really do that much damage because, first, everything is grouped up. Nothing wrong with being nice to your opponent. Nothing nice at all. And it was a good defense by our opponent. Really good force fields. So the force fields do force our army to couple up, and it does prevent us from actually firing all that well. Our opponent is going for Storm, so he's tech switching really fast. Good for him. He has an observer. Nothing quite like missile turrets for taking out observers. And nothing quite like sensor towers either. If you can afford them, go for them. In every matchup, they're always great. I'm going to get a PF just because the map is a little bit wonky, but that's okay. So the main reason why mid-tanks doesn't work is, again, you can't really get Vikings. And in this engagement, in our previous engagement, we didn't actually get the Colossi. We got everything else but the Colossi. So this time, he has 4 Colossi. And you can engage with Bio if he has 1 or 2 Colossi, even 3. But the moment he has 4, you need Vikings. I mean, you need them. I do decide to put a bit of pressure, but I move out just because, or I back out just because it's such a small choke and I don't want to get force fielded again. And our opponent has Storm finished. And although he does land 1 really good Storm, just because I didn't scout, that's just the only Storm that he uses. Everything else is the Colossus doing damage. And this is a really good testimony to the Colossus and how powerful they are. So once again, 4 is the number just because with 2 Colossi you can, well, it does 60 damage, therefore they're able to one-shot your Marines. With 4, they're able to one-shot their Marauders, and that's why it's important. It does do 120 damage, and your HP is 125 for the Marauder, But if they have +1 weapons, well, they kill them. If you stim your army, well, then they die. So, yeah. The 4 is really the number for it. Now, since we did lose our entire army, or pretty close to it, and we didn't really do the damage that we wanted to, I'm going to harass, which I do scout this. And we're going to move in and attempt to do some harass. We get a couple zealots, and we are able to take out the Nexus before our opponent is able to reinforce. Behind this, I'm also going to try harass. Our opponent is checking to Dark Templars. I do find out about that just because he uses them to defend. He does get an orbital, good for him. He does spot the tanks. He can't really engage this right now. Engaging within the tank with fire, that's a little bit messy on his part. And it looks like he's going to try and harass with the Dark Templars. This is okay. I'm going to be okay here. I do have tanks positioned just in case he wants to be sneaky. And the Templars do a bit of damage, but I do push it back not too long afterwards. And here is when things get interesting, because he's just positioning himself out. I see this with the sensor tower. I know what he's planning to do. He's going to attack. Now, ideally, you'd want to kite with the bio to avoid the storms, but the zealots do melt really fast. It's not too bad, but his army does do a massive amount of damage. He takes out the entire army. I have a PF just to stall for time. I will be able to stall long enough for my army to come and deal with this. And I do have tanks that I could have brought, but oh well. And he does lose all the Colossi. I do take a lot of damage from this, but it's okay because all my upgrades are done. If you look at my forces, I have 3-3, and my tanks have +3 attack too, which is the biggest thing. I do lose a lot of SCVs. Let's see how many I lost. Right, so I'm a little behind, not too far, but I did take some heavy damage here. The biggest thing that's in my favor right now is the bio upgrades. No, not just the bio, every upgrade, because if you look at our opponent, he has +3 armor and +1 attack done. So for a short amount of time, I'll be ahead in the tech. And he does lose another Nexi. We're just stalling for time until we can get a suitable amount of tanks up. And over here, he spots us coming with the DTs, and he's going to try and react. This is probably one of the best engagements I've had in this game. And it's a good example for how you want to engage. You want your tanks in the middle, and you want your bio spread out more or less. Ideally, you'd want to focus fire down the Templars with the tanks, but if you need them micro to kite with the Marines and just dodge the storms and whatever, you can see I'm not focus firing, and already it's still pretty effective. My tanks are doing a lot of damage. And this couldn't have gone better for me. I mean, I take down the Nexi, I deny this base as well, and we trade armies, and I actually came out ahead. A little bit because he doesn't have +2 armor, or +2 weapons done, but still. Now he does scout this army moving out. I do scan to see, well, I see his army, I tell him my intentions just with the scan. I scan a second time, and he's expecting me to attack here, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go completely around and attack where he's not going to be, which is this base right here. I'm going to deny his mining, and I do get a lot of probes. I think I got close to about 20. In response, he's going to come around, try to intercept my army while I retreats, and also putting pressure to this base. He gets the PF because it's not done transforming, and I don't have any workers to repair. And behind this, I'm going to opt for attacking because I have a PF here to defend, I have some tanks, some bio, not that much, but still, it's better than nothing. And over here, we're going to go for a nice little base trade. I dance around the storms a little bit, it's not half bad. I mean, he misses one storm, the first storm wasn't that great. And in the end, he does get the PF, but it does allow me to stall for time to get some reinforcements. And in the end, we do take out his natural. From here on out, it's going to be a base trade, that's all it's going to be. And the point is to take out all of his bases before he's able to take out all of mine. You see I have 4 bases, he only has 3, so I have the advantage there. My army, my reinforcements are able to take out all the Archons, which is awesome. But he has reinforcements, so I'm not able to take out his army here. I do have the army advantage, I think, just because as long as I can get some medevacs here and heal up my army, I should be okay. Okay, so he doesn't have +3 attack yet. So I'm going to take out one final base, and I think, alright, I might be able to take on his army, so I'm just going to see if I can engage. And from here, the Colossi are wrecking havoc. This leads to, he has a mothership core, and we're going to siege the tank right outside so that we can force an engagement. We do engage. The Zealots kind of melt. Thank God for the medevacs, they heal so well. And we're going to have tanks reinforcing to help with our fight, and we do end up taking out the Colossi, which is awesome. From there, GG is called, and the game is won. And this was one of the best games I've ever played. It was really fun when I played it. And I'm showing you this game partly because it's a bit more entertaining than the previous game, but also because I want to tell you that although I do use tanks, I'm not really encouraging tank play. I mean, it is a viable way of doing it just because it can work, but it is a bit risky and it is fragile against certain styles. And you have to realize this in mid-game. I'm skimping a little bit to go for tanks. And if you look at my mid-game play, just know that I'm always transitioning or aiming to just transition into tanks. So if you see me doing something weird, that's probably why. Just because you see me doing something, it doesn't necessarily mean you want to do it too. If you're more comfortable with your standard Viking Ghost play, go for it. If it's easier to pull off, maybe not easier, but if you're used to it, go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. I personally encourage it because it's standard. And tanks have a couple of weaknesses that you have to watch out for. So this is all for this video. I hope it was informative. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now.